Hey guys, and welcome to an Aspie's Point of View, where I give you my opinion on stuff. So today is going to be a review of The Good Doctor Season 3, Episode 2. The episode was called Debts. I do want to apologize for the quality of this video. I've been very ill, and so this video is being recorded on my webcam because it was easier than digging out all of my equipment. So it's not very good quality, but you're going to get to hear my point of view. So there were a few things that I wanted to touch on from this episode of The Good Doctor. The first is Sean's comment towards the very beginning, and that is, "I'm not like everyone else." I am going to admit I use that a lot when I'm trying to explain something to my mom and she's telling me, just forget about it, move on. And I say to her, my brain doesn't work like yours. I'm not like everyone else. That's something that I think almost every person on the spectrum feels, is that we're not like everyone else, and that does make it harder for us to relate, for us to adapt, for us to do the things that we need to do in order to have the life that we want to lead. And so I thought that was a very interesting and very realistic scene, was for Sean's argument to be, I'm not like everyone else. I can't do what everyone else can do, and you have to live with what I can do, because that's all we can do is what we can do. And that is, it's one of the things about living with autism spectrum disorder that makes life difficult, but it is something that we face on a daily basis. That kind of leads into the next thing, which is that one of the surgeons later on in the episode says, you can't fix the unfixable. So today, the president signed the Autism Cares Act. It was not a new act by any means. It was an old bill that has to get signed every so often in order to keep it from expiring. And so there were minor changes to the bill, but it's not a brand new bill. That being said, reading the comments on Twitter, there were so many autistic parents saying, oh, thank goodness, somebody's finally going to help us. Somebody's going to cure this. Well, here is my take on that. I wouldn't want to live my life any other way. And I know that sounds crazy because autism is hard, but it makes me who I am, and I wouldn't want to live life differently. There seems to be a consensus among the autism community that certain things regarding neurotypicals seeing autism are completely misunderstood. One of those things is perpetuated by Autism Speaks, and why so many of us do not support Autism Speaks is that Autism Speaks wants to cure us. And if you think about that, that's telling us there's something wrong with us. And in fact, there's not something wrong with us. We're living a life that we want to be proud of, and we're just living it a different way. And a lot of parents put their children into ABA therapy thinking that it's going to fix their child. Their child is going to act normal. And I was not personally in ABA, but the stories that I've heard from people who were, they say that it was absolute torture, that they tried to stop their stims. They basically took everything that makes someone with autism feel calm and normal and throw it out the window and make them as uncomfortable as possible in order to make the people around the person with autism more comfortable. And that is wrong. And so I feel like you can't fix the unfixable, and you shouldn't. I don't want to be fixed. I don't want to be seen as being defective. I'm not defective. My autism makes me who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. One of the other things that we saw in this episode, and we've seen it throughout the show, but particularly in this episode, it was very, very, very focused, was obsession. Sean grabs onto an idea like a dog with a bone, and he does not let go of it. And I have what I call my Aspie obsessions, where, there's something that I'm very, very focused on, and I want to find out everything about it, and I want to talk about it, and I want to, the entire world needs to know about it. And in this particular case, it was Sean trying to find an answer to help save a person, make their quality of life better. And he wouldn't stop obsessing until he found the answer to the problem. And a lot of people see that as being either a hindrance to our daily life because it takes up so much of our time, annoying because we talk about it so often, or they see it as something that could be bothersome to us if we're obsessed and we don't get an answer. And I will say that is something that it can be bothersome. However, it is also what makes us us. When I was in school, I got good grades because I was obsessed with studying. I would read everything. I would, do supplemental readings so that I had even more information. I wanted to know everything there was to know. And that made me a lot better of a person. One of the other things that I wanted to touch on is when Carly and Sean are going for a walk. Carly makes the comment that she doesn't know whether she went basically on a pity date with Sean. And the idea of a pity date is something that I think of a lot. Not anymore, now that I have a long-term boyfriend who I'm very, very, very happy with, and who I know likes me for me. However, I had both pity friends and pity dates. There were people who would, offer to go out with me that I knew were disingenuous and did not really want to, but because I was the one who always sat alone, because it looked like I didn't have anyone, they would make the offer. The same with friends. There were times where I know the people who I was communicating with, the people who I was sitting with, were not really my friends, but they were letting me sit with them because they felt bad for me, because they felt like I had nowhere else to sit. And what I will say is occasionally those pity friendships do turn into something more. But what I see a lot of the time is, particularly since I came out with talking about my autism, is that people who were not so nice to you in school or weren't really friendly with you in school, they start sending you messages, they start wanting to talk to you, they start wanting to be your friend. And the question is, why now? Why did you have to know that there was something that was diagnosably wrong with me in order for you to like me, in order for you to want to be my friend? So there's definitely the idea of pity dates on the table, both for the person that is going out with you and for you yourself as an autistic person. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the idea of helping somebody else without anything in return. When I was working at the electronics store that I worked at, there were a lot of people who didn't like me. It was one of those things where actually when new people came in, they were pulled aside and told that hanging out with me was social suicide. And I did not know any of this until maybe 3 or 4 months before I left. I knew that people didn't like me. I just didn't know why so many people didn't like me. That being said, there was a person who really didn't like me, who really treated me badly, and she had put something up online asking for someone to do her a favor. And immediately I said, I'll do it. And her response to me basically was, why? Why are you helping me? Why after the way I treated you? That's who I am. I don't do quid pro quo. I don't even know how to say it. I don't do this for that. I don't do only for friends. I will work hard to take care of everyone. And that's one of the reasons why I don't want someone to come along and try to change me, because I don't know who I would be without autism. I don't know if I would be that caring person. But what I do know is that I do care about people, and I care about making sure that people are getting everything they need, that they're getting taken care of. And I really, really don't care whether that person was nice to me, mean to me, is my friend, is my enemy. I want to help. And so I am definitely the case of the person who will do without expecting anything in return. Quid pro quo, I can say it now. There we go. I just wanted to get that out there. So I would love to know what you guys thought of the episode. If you have any thoughts, please put them in the comment section down below. If you liked this video and you want to know when I put out my next one, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, this has been an Aspie's Point of View. Bye, guys.